What's up? What's up? What's up? It's that time of the show where we kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. The sponsor today is Anchor. Anchor is everything you need to create your own podcast. You can use Anchor to distribute your show. They'll kind of get it out for you. And all you have to do is do it from your cell phone or your microphone, however you want to do it. But if you want to get your voice out there, if you want to talk to the people, there's no better place to do it than Anchor. So download the app Anchor or go to their website, anchor.com. It'll distribute your podcast on all platforms. So again, Anchor. What up? Welcome to another episode of You Can't Play Boxing Podcast. Yo, I know it's been a long time. It's been hella long since we had last episode. I mean, not too long, but it's been since after that Anthony Joshua fight. So it's about 6 weeks ago. So, we back. Sorry for the hiatus, but, it's going to be like that because especially in the summertime, boxing, a lot of the schedule is kind of light. So there's very few big fights that come through in the summertime. A lot of people kind of use the summer to recharge. So, we're going to pop in and pop out. We hope to be more consistent. We're doing some of the classic fights. And speaking of that, we're going to, on this episode, just to kind of let you guys know, we're going to preview the big fight tonight, which is Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman in Las Vegas. Matter of fact, I'm on the way to Las Vegas in the next couple of hours to go to the fight. So we're going to preview that fight. And then also we're going to talk about, the fight I mentioned last episode, which was Oscar De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. I think 1999. We're gonna recap that fight. We're gonna rescore the fight. I'm gonna tell you how I saw the fight because it was a very controversial fight. So we're gonna get into all that. You know what I'm saying? So, stepping into it, man, just kind of diving into the stuff. Before we get into the Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman preview, I want to kind of go over some interesting stuff, just kind of going that I've kind of just caught my eye in the last few weeks. Matter of fact, this thing caught my eye this week. Glasses Malone, he's a West Coast artist out of LA. And he released a very interesting video. If you don't follow Glasses Malone, I think you can find him on Twitter or Instagram as Glasses Loke. But Glasses Loke, like LOC. So in case we're all, people who couldn't understand it. But he released a song called basically looking at the eyes, looking at life through the eyes of Tupac's alleged killer, which is Orlando Anderson, who passed away. And he released a song and video. So the video is very interesting, man. It got a lot of heat, especially with the caption. The caption he put when he introduced the video was like, Tupac should die, or Tupac deserved to die. So, you saying that. He knew it was going to be a lot of trolling with that. But, in this day and age, you want the attention a lot of times. So yeah, it's very interesting, man. I mean, he kind of goes from when he left the home to going to Vegas and the weeks beforehand and then what happened. And so, man, if you're a Tupac fan, you're going to probably not like it. It's my thoughts on this is that I think Glasses was doing it definitely for attention. But even saying that, he's striving for attention in a very creative way. He's not lazy with it. So I will give him credit for that. He came with a dope, it was a dope perspective, that hasn't been explored and something that's controversial. So when you can tap into something that hasn't been explored that's controversial, that's going to get you to the attention, I mean, it's a winning strategy if you're trying to get, notoriety. So check out the video. I mean, he got me talking about it. I mean, you kind of give your thoughts as far as how you feel about it, It's very polarizing. So I'm going to say about that. All right. Next thing is the main thing, which we're going to talk about. It's going to be that Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman fight. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a slight little break, come back, and then we're going to dive into it. We back. You Can't Play Boxing podcast. It's your boy, Electric Relaxation. You know what I mean? Timmy B. You can find me out. You can check us out on Instagram as You Can't Play Boxing on Instagram. That's UCANT Play Boxing on Instagram. So we diving into it real quick. Big fight tonight. Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, live from Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Man, this is a tough fight to preview, man. I've been going back and forth in this fight. But before we kind of get my preview and my analysis, let's kind of go into the two fighters. Got Manny Pacquiao, 40 years old, 61 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws. So Pacquiao, as you already know, he been fighting 24 years since he was 16 years old. Not a rookie to this. 39 KOs. He been knocked out 3 times as far as 3 KOs losses, but Pacquiao is a legend. Pacquiao coming in, 5'5". I think he weighed in at 146 yesterday. You already know the deal when it comes to him. He's fought nearly 500 rounds. He fought 474 rounds, 70 fights, professional fights. You know about Pac-Man. On the other side, the B side, because Pacquiao's the A side in this fight, he's the money man. You got Keith Thurman coming from Florida, Clearwater, Florida. Keith Thurman, 30 years old, so he's 10 years younger than Pacquiao. And being 10 years younger than Pacquiao, he's 29-0, 22 KOs, no losses, no draws. Keith Thurman got 30 bouts right here. Well, I said Pacquiao had a 470 professional rounds. Keith Thurman had 140, so not even 1/3 of what Pacquiao's gone through. Thurman, 5'7", so he's taller than Pacquiao. I think he came in at 147. Man, this fight, man, the reason I'm sighing because I go back and forth on this fight so much, man. So let's dive into the preview, man. The pros of Manny Pacquiao is that Pacquiao, even though he's 40 years old, there are certain things he has not lost. He still has pretty good footwork. He still know how to dart in, dart out. He still has his angles. He still know how to use a jab and come in there. He still know how to set traps. He still know how to do things like that. So he's not, no matter, I think Pacquiao could be 45 years old. He will never be an easy fight because he does so many small things in the ring that as a fighter, you don't realize until you in there, if you watch it. Some of the downside Pacquiao has right now is that, he's 40 years old, so he don't have quite the hunger and the power and that ferociousness as he had 10 years ago or 12 years ago. Pacquiao 10, 12 years ago would definitely smash Thurman. I mean, no doubt. If they were similar age, 30 years old, 30 years old, I mean, don't get me wrong, Thurman would still be cool. But Pacquiao, I would give Pacquiao all day. So Pacquiao don't have the same ferociousness as he had 10 years ago. He hadn't had too many KOs. I mean, he looked good against Broner, but Broner was kind of tailor-made because Broner don't move his feet. Broner kind of don't throw too many shots. He was a good fight for Pacquiao coming back. Pacquiao had a KO against Lucas Matisse, same type of thing. A good fighter for him to come back. Matisse has power, but not too much else. So Pacquiao, he's still a legit contender. I still think he's definitely top 5, top 7 welterweight, even at 40 years old. On the other side, we got my guy, Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, when he was coming up, Keith Thurman was like a guaranteed knockout artist that he's going to knock you out. That's where you get the name One Time. You Keith One Time Thurman because he hits you one time, you feel it. But in the last few years, things have changed with Keith Thurman. He had that fight with Sean Porter. He didn't knock Sean Porter out, but Sean Porter is a tricky guy to even try to do that. But as you go up in competition, you usually don't knock guys out. That's what Pacquiao was doing 10 years ago was so unheard of because he was knocking out top-rate guys, and you typically don't do that as you go up in weight and you go up in class of people you're fighting because they have experience and they know what to do. So Thurman, he didn't knock out Sean Porter. He beat him, though. He didn't knock out Danny Garcia. He beat him, though. And then after that Danny Garcia fight, he had surgery. Then he had like an accident or something. Then he got married. And then he had his tune-up fight earlier this year where he didn't look so well. Matter of fact, he almost got knocked the fuck out. So Thurman, one thing about him is that he has power. He is smart in the ring. He's smart in the ring. He's smart outside the ring. He's not like a normal dumb boxer like the people kind of stereotype, He knows what he's doing. He's smart. But even though he's smart, and even though he's smart, he knows what to do, he doesn't have that natural boxing agility or fluidity across the ring. He's kind of mechanical, which means that his footwork isn't the best. And a person like Pacquiao, darting in, darting out, I can see how he could expose Thurman unless Thurman makes some adjustment. Making an adjustment would mean that Thurman would have to press the fight, throw his jab consistently, and I think he'll put himself in a better range. But if Pacquiao is able to dart in and dart out and use the angles, Thurman's footwork is not where it needs to be to kind of combat that. So another thing is that Thurman, I don't know if he has the hunger that he once had for fighting, or it seems like that kind of dissipated in the last year. Once he beat Danny Garcia and just hearing him talk, because Errol Spence want to fight him, he just didn't have that hunger. Like, yeah, I want to be the best welterweight. It kind of feels like he feels like he already arrived, and basically he's here to cash out. That's the way it feels. So when you already got one eye on the door, like you're looking to retire, sometimes that takes you out of what you should be doing. You might not be going to the gym as much. You might not, when you go to the gym, you probably stay in the gym 3-4 hours. Now you might stay in the gym 2 hours. You might used to do 12, 15 rounds of sparring. Now you maybe do 10, 12 rounds of sparring. You might used to spar 5 times a week. And I get it because you're getting older. You don't spar as much. Maybe you're sparring 2, 3 times a week. Or maybe you're skipping sparring sometimes, some weeks. So when you lose that hunger in fighting, it messes with you a little bit. And he's going to make the most money he ever made in this fight. I will say at that stages in their career, with their skills, Thurman should beat Pacquiao. He should beat him at their stage of their career and how the level of fighters they are. But the X factor for me is how bad does Thurman want it? Because I think Pacquiao is going to make him work for it. He's not laying down. I think Thurman's going to have to push through a wall to beat Pacquiao. If he goes, he's going to have to push through another level that I think he has within him. It's just whether or not he feels like bringing that out at 30 years old. Because I don't see Thurman, there's no way in the world I see Thurman fighting 40 years old. I think Thurman's on the last 5 years for sure of his career, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next year or two if he retires. So Thurman has another level. I just don't know if he is going to dig down deep for that level. So my prediction for this fight, I think it's going to be a very even fight. I think there's going to be rounds where Pacquiao darts in, darts out, and uses angles, and he's going to make Thurman look silly. I think there's going to be a couple rounds. I think especially in the beginning of the fight, I think Pacquiao is going to do that. I think in the middle of the fight, I think Thurman's going to settle down, start to tag Pacquiao, get some good shots. And I think around round 7, 8, 9, 10, those are going to be the rounds that really tell the fight. If Thurman starts to time Pacquiao and is putting that pressure on him as the bigger man that he can do, he's going to make it hard for Pacquiao, and he's going to insert himself as being a dominant fighter. If Pacquiao is coasting and he's winning round 7, 8, 9, 10, he's winning the majority of those rounds right there, I think Pacquiao's on to a decision. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to say that Thurman is going to dig down deep. And I say he's going to dig down deep. He's going to push through the next level. He's going to win the fight. He's not going to win it decisively. It's going to be some people who think Pacquiao should win. It's going to be some people think Thurman can win. But I think overall, I'm going to have Thurman winning. And he might even get a knockdown. I don't think it's going to be a knockout. But I think I'm going to have Thurman winning either a decision. My score, I can see it going 114, 113. Or I can see it going 115, 113 for Thurman. But I think the official score would definitely be a split decision. But I go split decision, Keith Thurman winning the fight. I'm going out to Vegas. I'm going to put some money on that. If you follow me on Instagram on You Can't Play Boxing, you will see the ticket. So, that's my prediction. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We're going to talk about the Oscar de la Hoya, Felix Trinidad, classic fight, 1999. Check us out after this break. We back. You Can't Play Boxing podcast. So we're going to do this real quick. 1999, big fight. Oscar de la Hoya, Felix Trinidad. Because I got to catch this fight coming up. But Oscar de la Hoya, Felix Trinidad. Fight took place back. Let me get that for you. I'm on a little. September 18th, 1999 at the Mandalay Bay Resort. De La Hoya was 35-0 at the time. I think Tito was like, he was undefeated too at the time. Both of them was welterweights at that time. You had Don King with Felix Trinidad. You had Bob Arum with Oscar De La Hoya. So the two old guys putting their best fighters, they worked together for this huge fight. Felix Trinidad was 31-0 at the time, just for the record. So big fight in the Mandalay Bay. Both undefeated fighters, both big fighters. De La Hoya was the money guy in Vegas. So people thought like, hey, if this goes to a decision, most likely De La Hoya is going to win that fight. Beginning of the fight, both of them was giving each other. Both fighters were kind of hesitant and not pushing the line a lot. They were giving each other a lot of respect. But, the first few rounds, I say the first 6 rounds, I had to fight 59-55 for De La Hoya. De La Hoya he was busy. He was boxing. He was using his jab. And Trinidad couldn't get off, to be truthful. Middle of the fight, they kind of was trading rounds a little bit. But going into the 11th round, I had that fight, basically it was a fight that was, I had a 97-93 for Oscar De La Hoya. So basically, as long as De La Hoya won, as long as he didn't take a knockdown, he was going to win the next fight. I mean, he's going to win that fight on my scorecard. So I think he fought like that. The last 2 rounds, De La Hoya ran around, and he thought he was winning, and most people thought he was winning. But it's a lesson. You can never take your foot off the gas thinking you won. Press that line, cuz like don't take your feet off the pedal. He took his foot off the pedal. Trinidad kept coming. He won the last 2 rounds decisively. And on my scorecard, it was 115-113, De La Hoya winning. But that was my scorecard. There was a couple close rounds that I gave De La Hoya that I could see people giving to Trinidad and vice versa. And actually on that card, Trinidad won a majority decision. There was one person that had it as a draw, two judges that had it for Trinidad. De La Hoya felt he was robbed, which I could see you think he was robbed, but it wasn't a robbery. It's just that you assumed you were winning, and you didn't take the chances that you should have taken to win, and you kind of played yourself a little bit. So most people thought De La Hoya won the fight. I thought De La Hoya won the fight, but very slightly. I wasn't mad that he didn't win the fight because of how he fought the last 2 rounds. And there you go, Trinidad won. So lesson for everybody. Just because you in the lead, never take your foot off that pedal. Keep smashing hard, keep going. So, what we gonna do? I'm head out to Vegas for this fight. But I will say I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to recap the Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman fight. And we'll see if my prediction was right. We'll talk about it. Until next time, catch me out. You Can't Play Boxing on Instagram. Check out our podcast on all streaming sites. Peace.